Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Speaker. I think presentation of Rajab has made my work very easy because he narrated what was happening and what's happening now. So my work is going to be very easy to explain why that happened, why we have so many militias, why we have people that present themselves in a military form to express their political idea or objective. My presentation, I think I will take the small brief of the history, especially of what you have talked about now, of dividing the Sudan. By then, South Sudan was a part of Sudan region. I think the policy of the British administration by then was isolate South Sudan as a region, as they have created policy of called closed districts order, to make South Sudan as a region is isolated from the other part of North Sudan, where development was taking place, especially in North Sudan or Central Sudan, where there is the most mass development than North, than South, especially the roads, the economic project, all those things that's taken in North, but the South was so isolated. There was no road, there was no any project for development. So that way, Southern by then was so marginalized society. And then what makes the things are that there is a difference of culture, of course. Most of the people who are in North, they have different cultural backgrounds than the people in South. That is another part of another dimension of the issue. But the issue are two. The other is the economic part. The other also is part of the identity also a part. Most people they talked about as identity alone, not. This also has also development aspect of it, like the people of North Sudan or Central Sudan, where the central government was so much development than the people of North. When the Sudan took its independence, 1965, the ruling class, which has taken over the power of Sudan from the British, has continued the same policy of the colonial, which has made the Southern as a marginalized part, and they are not treated the Southern equally like the North. So that why make the Southern resist that policy. They resist in form of armed struggle or militarized. That's why there is a two important movement in South Sudan, Anyanya, that is when by 1950 something, and SPLA 1983. So that one was how Southerners rebelled themselves, that is demanding justice, they demand equality. We have to treat us equally. But most of the demand of South by then was we need to govern ourselves. There is a different form. There are people who are calling for federation, there are people who are calling for self-autonomy. The other political party was calling for separation by then. In 1972, the Anyanya have reached agreement with the central government of Sudan, where they give South Sudan as a regional autonomy for almost 9 years, and then 11 years, and then the agreement collapsed, and then SPLA came out, and then the struggle for 23 years, and then they got also an agreement with the central government of 2005, it is in Fasha. But both agreements have created like some project in South, limited, not, but also Southern elite also has a part of the problem, because they have not get a chance of development South in that area, in that time. They have also get busy to reach themselves and fight the position. They have created a little project which could be like one university and some of the ministry building and like 2 or 3 project of development. But South Sudan as a region is still being marginalized. People in the village, they have no access to modern life. They have no access to service. In 2005, after Nifasha peace agreement, which gives the South Sudan autonomy, like my colleague here Rajab talked about, that autonomy has given, South Sudan has oil. That oil was not used to benefit of the people of South Sudan. The SPLA leaders, they still continue the same policy of Anyanya, is to enrich themselves as a leader and not to build South Sudan. After South Sudan got independent in 2011, the SPLA, which was the ruling class up to now, I think by then they don't have project of national building. Like Nyerere says that is for the liberation movement, they have to answer two questions: nation building or development. The SPLA have none of them to build, to make South Sudan as different tribes to come as one, to make social cohesion between the tribes, and also development. Like I speak to now, up to now, the small products in South Sudan, they exported from outside, tomato, onion, also. So they're relying on the donors, on the foreigners, on the organization to provide the basic need of the society. So I think that is the general explanation. That's why the problem of South Sudan, of that tension between two parties, and why they always present themselves in the army struggle or armed conflicts. Because when you look at the history, for the Southern to get hard, they have to present themselves in military action. Not like a North, they have the board development. People present themselves in the trade union, in political party. But in Southern, if you want to be hard, you have to use only the military form. Let me go straight to the point why we have was the causes of violence. Why we have so many violence. That is, when you hear news about South Sudan, the first things people will hear about that is there is a war in South Sudan. There are so many reasons that why in South Sudan we have so many violence. So endless war cannot finish. The war is stopped. We have peace agreement, and then the peace agreement collapses, and then we go to war again. One of the causes is the power struggle. Why the political actor in South Sudan, they struggle for power. In South Sudan, there is no productive economic, where a country has factories, and so for you to get rich, you have to have a relationship with people in power. So the power is means of getting wealth in South Sudan. So that's why most of the political actors, they fight for the power to get access to the wealth. Because if you're not in power, you're not getting access to the wealth. You get through high salary. You get by so many means. You get wealth. You get so many rich by when you become. So that's why the struggle for power has been there in South Sudan, because that is the only means of people who want to get rich, like Mr. Omo was speaking there. The guest was in Africa to get rich is to join African politics. In South Sudan, that is the only way to get rich is to go to the power, struggle for power. The other thing is the SPLA as a guerrilla movement or liberation movement actually has failed to transform itself from the guerrilla movement to the ruling party. Like I speak to you now, the SPLA, like the leader of SPLA in particular region, is the same is a leader, is the head of the party. He's also has a high rank in the army. So the SPLA has not decided that is the ruling party. Like in Uganda here, people who are actually doing politics are not collaborating with army. In South Sudan, no, there are people who are in army, who are leading community, have all those positions. Like the SPLA itself is making the country in fragile, because there's complicating the issue in terms of the political setting. There is also a limited security of government. Why we have so many militias? We have white army, we have Aero Boys, we have.
You also have Arab boys there?
Yeah.
We have Arab boys here
Yeah.
in Surat. They shift from Surat to South Sudan.
They are there.
You have Arab boys there?
Yeah, they are there.
Ask Captain Mike Mukura whether he has
There are so many like Agulek. There are so many militias. Mostly of them, they protect the cows. Like White Army, they also protect the cows because in the local level there is no government. Like there is no police. There is no. So you have to create militia to protect your.
police is ineffective there.
Yeah, it's not bad. There's limit in some towns, but in village there's no any presence of the government security. So people, they create militia to protect themselves or to protect their wealth, like their cows. In terms of the farmers, they protect that is the farmers because the pastoralists also they have militias. They come and attack your farms and destroy your crops if you're not equipment. There are so many. Those militias actually, when war happened in Juba, they allies with the warring party. Like White Army, they will allies with Riek Machar. The Galwing in Warab, they always allies with Kir. So they get allies with the people who are fighting in central government. That's why we always having militias, so many militias. That's why create the source of conflict been there all those time. Yeah, and there is I think high level of poverty. As the people there in the village, they have nothing to eat. They have nothing. So there is only way of joining army to get that to survive. The important cause is I think let me elaborate more in that there is a failure of intervention to resolve conflicts, especially IGAD. IGAD modelized for peace conference, peace resolution in Sudan. They create the power sharing modality. That is, the big people, they have to come and accommodate themselves in power, especially people who have more troops, have big muscles. They have to join them and then create them in the government. So that is the only solution. IGAD thinks that it will create peace. I think that modality has failed. 2016, the IG and IO, they fought and peace collapsed. Now it's the same thing. Why there is a problem is that those two parties or those two people or two groups, which you accommodate them in power, they will use the power to get to recruit more soldiers, to get more weapons, to buy more people, so they can maintain their interest in power. So there is no way that the only solution for peace agreement is to bring those people together. Because the small misunderstanding, like what happened, what makes the peace collapse in 2016 was a small misunderstanding. But both of them, they were too strong. So they turned the misunderstanding to conflict. Now, I think the IO has become more weak because they have so many army group got defection from them, from the Riek Machar. So Kir thinking that this is time for him to get out, to get rid of Machar, because now Machar is so weak. So that's why the small misunderstanding happened between those